What's going on, folks? This is Coma 1980 at Dire Consciousness Films, and just want to get started right away. But before we start talking about the subject at hand, I want to give a little update about the film. It's Tuesday, May 5th, and obviously my previous goal for finishing the film was Monday, yesterday, and it didn't work out. Still filming, still have we're past the halfway mark, but the good news is all the reshoots are done from the previous scenes that we had done, so everything's caught up. Still have a little bit of editing to do with what I've shot, but over the halfway mark officially. There's not going to be any reshoots and stuff like that, but just haven't finished the film yet. I think from here on out I'm not going to set any hard dates, just because I don't want to disappoint myself, and it's not fair to you guys, it's not fair to the film to set these hard dates about when I'm going to finish the film. But it will be done soon. I don't want, again, like I said, I don't want to give a schedule for when the film's probably going to be done, but if I would guess, the way things are going, at least maybe at the most 2 weeks from today, just because things have slowed down a little bit more. I'm so busy doing other things and right now, but my focus is on the film and also on doing more videos for the channel. So things are going great. Didn't finish the film when I wanted to, but it will be done soon, so there's that. And you know, I look forward to sharing that with you guys and getting some feedback. Anyway, timing myself because I don't want to make this video too long. I wanted to talk about Silent Hills, more specifically Silent Hill as a series, period, and how it's influenced me. So some background real quick on the Silent Hills game real quick. Apparently Konami just recently canceled Silent Hills. They didn't really give a real reason. I know that they were working with Guillermo del Toro and I think Hideo Kojima. I'm not sure if that's his name, the director from the Metal Gear Solid games. And they also had, I know his last name, Reedus, one of the actors on the Walking Dead show. And they were all going to be working on his game, and it sounded really, I was really excited. Apparently there was a demo on the PS4, I believe, and it was just amazing. I haven't seen any of it. Now that it's gone, I'm going to try and catch some YouTube videos on it, maybe a walkthrough or something. I was kind of holding off from seeing the game because I wanted to wait until it came out. But yeah, it was kind of disappointing, but there was a little bit of irony in it for me anyway. It kind of paralleled my film now, and I'll get to that in a second, but I want to talk about Silent Hill and its influence on me as a series and how it's influenced my work. You know, the first film I ever made was called Trapped, and it was part of a trilogy, and well, there was a fourth film in the series, but I never finished it. But they were very heavily influenced by the Silent Hill franchise. I could argue, actually I could say that the first Trap film was heavily based on Silent Hill lore, and it's always been a huge influence in my work thus far, even including this film now. But that seems to be a road that I'm ending right now. So basically, I'll talk about how I came across Silent Hill at first. So I had an N64 at the time. I didn't have a PlayStation, and I remember I picked up a magazine. I believe it might have been a Game Pro or EGM, doesn't really matter, but it was at the end of the year, and they had done a end of the year synopsis section or something at the end of the magazine that basically detailed briefly all the games that had came out that year. So and they were just small one paragraph reviews with a thumbnail and the title of the game. And I remember coming across Silent Hill. I was very intrigued. The screenshot was Harry and the small, it was a screenshot of the beginning of the game where you're walking around and you come across the small childlike monsters and they're coming at you. And The description of the game that they gave was a Resident Evil clone, and it's it's scary, not bad. It's a good start to the series, whatever. And which I kind of disagree with some of that now. Like, I don't agree that Silent Hill is a Resident Evil clone. It's in the same genre. It has some of the same tropes, but it's not a clone. It's actually very misleading. But anyway, I was interested in the game, and so when I got a PlayStation, I after a while, I ended up picking it up. I was like, oh, that's Silent Hill. That's that game, and I picked it up from a GameStop or something, and I played it. And after I played that game, once I started playing that game, I was blown away. I had never played something that intense, that scary, that psychological. Resident Evil, since since they brought it up with the clone thing, I played Resident Evil 2. That was my entry into the franchise, and it was a great game. I really enjoyed it. But compared to Silent Hill in terms of scare factor, it there's no competition there. It doesn't. You can't compare it. I really enjoyed the regular man protagonist from Silent Hill compared to the super cop in Resident Evil. I mean, it was just, it was a little goofy. Resident Evil is a great franchise for the most part, their early stuff anyway. And, they're campy and all that's great. It works really well for them. But I could relate more to just a regular person that, was the main hero in Silent Hill, or hero, so to speak. And for instance, one of the scares in Resident Evil that I remember that kind of caught me off guard was when you're walking in the interrogation room and the dog jumps in through the window, and it was a nice little jump scare, but it didn't compare to Silent Hill, where you're in the mall area and he's looking for his daughter, and you see her pop up on a bunch of TV screens, and she's writhing in pain or discomfort, and she's calling out to her father, and that really got under my skin. It was really intense. It was really scary, and the isolation in that game was just intense. So I became a real big fan off the bat after the first game, and so when I found out that Silent Hill 2 was being made, I was really excited. It looked incredible, very realistic for the time. The graphics were just blowing my mind, and once I got a PS2 and the game was already out for a while, it was one of my first pickups, and wow, it was incredible. It was incredible. I was blown away. Isn't even the word. I mean, it was so intense, and it felt so real too. The characters were well written. The dialogue was good. It doesn't hold up as much now, but it's still pretty adequate. I could still play Silent Hill 2 and be satisfied. Everything was just so good. The music was intense. Just everything. The feeling of isolation, the fear that it instilled in you without really doing much. You were just kind of on edge. I remember feeling very uncomfortable and very feelings of tension and things like that. And the story itself was really sad in a lot of ways too. And all the characters in the game I could relate to in one way or the other. Like for instance, like even Eddie, he was picked on and he retaliated and he ran to Silent Hill, and I remember getting bullied a bit when I was in grammar school, so I could relate to him. And every character had something very intense and very serious stuff. It was not kid stuff. It was really a game made for adults, and I appreciated that. It was very intense. And the years after that, when I started getting into film, it really heavily influenced me. I mean, Trapped 1, or the first Trap film I did was it was kind of like an early version of Silent Hill for me, like just an homage to Silent Hill, and a lot of the same things and character names and stuff like that. So I always appreciated Silent Hill for what it was. It was very influential in my work. Even before this film, I wrote a script previous to this one, and it was based on Silent Hill. It was called Silent Hill, and it was my version of Silent Hill 2 with the detective from Silent Hill 3. I won't get into any of the details, but it was, real long script that I wrote, and I was real proud of it, and we had started shooting it. But then some of my friends, or ex-friends, I guess, because I never saw them again, they just kind of disappeared, and I wasn't able to finish the film. I didn't want to start over. We were about a quarter of the way through, but it was a long film. We had shot so much, and when they dropped out of it, I just kind of lost interest. And I still have the script, and I look at it from time to time, and I'm, if I give this another rewrite, I may be able to do it again. But this is the point where I want to get to. When I wrote this film, I didn't have Silent Hill on my mind, but there is some influence from it in there. But now that I've been shooting, and now that it's getting, it's a little bit more than halfway, and I'm excited to get it done, I feel this I don't know how to explain it, but I feel this just impending end to this kind of filmmaking, so to speak. I've been kind of making the same movie since I started making films so far, pretty much. And each time I do it, it gets a little bit better. And now I feel like after this, I'm kind of done. I feel like I've done all that I can for now with this type of film. And now is my time to move on. And there's a piece to that for me. It makes me more excited to finish it. It makes me more excited to continue filming and get it done and share it with you guys. And it was kind of interesting when I found out that the Silent Hills game was being canceled, because it almost kind of closed the chapter for me in a way. And it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say, but there'll be more Silent Hill games in the future. But although I said I was excited for it, I wasn't really paying attention to it with the same intensity that I was when I knew Silent Hill 2 was coming out. And actually, after I played Silent Hill 2, the anticipation for 3 that I had was way more intense than it was for Silent Hills. Mainly because of what Silent Hill 2 had done for me personally and emotionally, and as a gamer and as a person, and intellectually and psychologically and everything. I was so excited for 3, and I was excited for Silent Hills because there had been so many bad Silent Hill games lately that I was like, oh, finally. But it wasn't as intense as it was for 3. And 3 turned out to be a great game too. Not as great as 2 in my opinion, but very, very well done. But it's just funny. It's almost like I want to say I'm kind of over it in a way, even though I'm not. But I'm just done with that part of my life, I think. And that's why I wanted to make this video, because I just wanted to express it a little bit more for myself and talk about it. It's just, I've had my fun with this, and I think this script and this film is a lot shorter than I had initially thought it would be, but I think I said everything I had to say, and I'm really excited to finish it. And it was just a coincidence, an ironic coincidence that, for the most part, this franchise is getting shut down now for who knows for how long, and I'm kind of shutting down this part of my life too at the same time. So it was it was a little weird, and it was kind of satisfying, and it was almost, I took it almost as a sign, as I'm doing the right thing, and I'm this film I'm doing this film at its appropriate time, and I'm working on it at the pace it deserves, and just keep plugging along and going along with it. So anyway, so yeah, again, Silent Hill was a very influential thing. I don't want to talk too much about it. A lot of it's personal, but it's one of my favorite game franchises of all times. And there is a little bit of disappointment finding out that the game got canceled, the new game got canceled, but I'll always have Silent Hill 2 there. I still have my copy. It'll always be there. It's not going away, so I'm not that angry. I'm not that upset. And so, but as far as the other stuff going on with Konami, I don't want to talk about them too much. I'm not surprised that they're going out of business, or they're not going out of business. I believe they're getting out of the console industry altogether. Console gaming, you know, they're doing mobile stuff that's doing well for them. They still have their Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. I just found out that they're in healthcare, I think, or they have some gyms and stuff, and that's like 25% of their revenue, which is understandable. A lot, you know, the healthcare industry is big right now. It's really big. A lot, especially in this country and especially in Japan, where their population is aging, and it's a huge issue. So for, you know, just like Nintendo with their quality of life, it's not surprising that all these companies, even game, it's not really even surprising that game companies are getting into this stuff, because, you know, they've been, you know, video games are a way of taking care of your mental health in a way. You know, for a lot of people it is. For me, it has been. So them kind of shutting that side of things down, at least I believe that's what's going down. It's not surprising, and I hope, you know, that they pass on the Silent Hill franchise to someone who's going to treat it with the respect that it deserves, and I hope they make a great game. And, you know, I guess if any of the original Silent Hill team who brought 1 and 2, and I believe they worked on 3 also, when they put that together and worked so hard on it, just, you know, thank you, because you guys made an incredible game, and your legacy will live on forever, not just in the games, but in the influence that it's had in other people such as myself. You know, hopefully one day I'll be known by more than a few people, and those influences will be there on display. It will live on for the ages, because it's great work. And, you know, special thanks to everybody who worked on Silent Hill throughout the years, period. You know, I'm, you know, there are bad games out there with the Silent Hill name, that's true, but, you know, it's a lot of work making a game. It's a lot of work, and I respect anybody and everybody who gets involved in that. You know, it's kind of like, in a way, it's like filming. You know, you don't know how good a film you're going to have until you're finished, until it's edited and it's done. And sometimes we have to realize as fans that these people making these games, they have a lot of work ahead of them, and not only that, but they're under a lot of pressure from the companies financing this stuff to get this stuff done real fast, and sometimes it's not fair. You know, and actually it's not fair, period. So I appreciate everyone who's worked on the franchise and tried to do something new and add to it, and for better or worse. So anyway, that's all I really wanted to talk about right now briefly. I'm going to have a new makeup video coming out before the end of the week, and a couple other vlogs like this. So stay tuned for that. There'll be some actual behind the scenes videos of the film before I finish it, that I'll be uploading too. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. This is Coma 1980 of Dire Consciousness Films. Have a good day. See you guys soon.